This is the Tecnifibre TF40 290 gram version, the version 3, and I must say this is a fantastic racket. So it's a surprising stick that gives you the feel and sense of when you're playing, for example, with a pure strike from Babolat. But this one feels more playful, easier, it's lightweight, swing weight is low, it's nicely balanced, you can swing with it very fast, the head goes nicely forward and it follows the stroke very nicely. The overall design, the new design of the TF40s, I like that camo design. So actually the more I have the racket in my hand, the more I like it. It was quite unusual at first, but overall I'm really impressed. It's a 98 square inch head size. So 290 gram racket, 98 square inch head size, very maneuverable, very easy to use, super fun, precise, 16 by 19, loads of spin, super fun. I'm really impressed with this racket and I highly recommend it. You check it whether you are a junior or a woman or let's say intermediate, weaker tennis player, or let's say lighter, weaker tennis player in the body weight sense like I am. You will have a ton of fun with this racket. So guys, don't wait a minute and check out my full review. So morning tennis guys, so in today's video I will be testing the new TF40 from Tecnifibre and it will be the 290 gram version, so let's go. Alright, so the TF40 from Tecnifibre 290 gram version, I must say it's a very nice looking racket, so it looks really nice where it is. So the camo design is interesting, it's fresh, it's once again something new, so Tecnifibre is not afraid trying something new, even though it is a risk, let's say. But I like those rackets, really, I like the design. So the beam, very similar to pure strikes. You know, control-oriented stick is the most control-oriented racket from Tecnifibre. So the TF40s are the ultimate control-oriented scalpels. 16 by 19, 98, it's 290 gram. 325 balance, so the swing weight should be around 310, 315 maybe with strings. So strung with a Razor Soft from Tecnifibre, very popular string nowadays, used by Daniel Medvedev. And yeah, I think this racket will suit my game because of the lower swing weight. And I remember when I was hitting with the previous TF40s, was a couple of years ago, they were very solid. So this time, once again, they are filled with foam. So the whole frame is filled with foam and it should feel nice, plush and stable and very solid. Similar, let's say, to the Blades, but I would say closer to the Blades Pro. So let's go. Hello tennis guys and welcome to my channel. So this is the third generation of TF40 tennis rackets, but this is a brand new
290-gram version that has never been there before. It is 98 square inches and a 16 by 19 string pattern. And this racket is absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy that I got the chance to test this racket. It wasn't planned, but Tecnifibre sent me this racket along with TFX1 version 2 rackets, 285 gram models and 300 gram models. But don't buy these rackets, guys. These are essentially the same rackets like the version 1, and I will make an extra video about it because Tecnifibre just make a scam version of the TFX1 rackets, because half of the rackets in the series are really the old molds, old rackets just with a different paint job, and only the new models are the new, let's say, new rackets, really new rackets that are, because they weren't there before, they are new, but the older or the classical weights that were there in the first generation of the TFX1 rackets are just repainted. So I feel like it's a scam on a consumer, because you are thinking, oh, if I buy the new 300 gram TFX1 version 2, it must be new. No, it's not. And that's a very disappointing move. And yeah, I will make a video about it. I'm not afraid to do that, because I am what? I am independent. So guys, back to the TF40. So TF40 rackets, just for introduction, are the ultimate pinnacle state-of-the-art rackets from Tecnifibre that are a little bit, you know, behind T-Fight in terms of the cells, but that can be a mistake for many of the consumers who don't maybe know about TF40s. So these rackets are the closest to the most control-oriented frames from the other brands on the market, like the Head Prestige or Babolat Pure Strikes. So they have this ultimate control, feel, touch, and precision factor in them. So more control, more precision compared to the T-Fight series. So don't miss the TF40 just because it sounds kind of weird. The TF40 essentially means the 40 years anniversary rackets that they were made with the first generation. It was 40 years of Tecnifibre in the game of tennis. That's why they have created this series. And according to Tecnifibre and the catalog and the people who work for Tecnifibre, this is actually the racket for the experts. So not only the advanced players, but for the experts and tournament players. So we might not see many of the TF40s on the tour, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe some of the players have just repainted versions of the TF40s. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know. Who knows? Only those that are behind the curtain know. So let's go to the review itself. I have, as always, prepared a few points. So I will start talking about the Manooovrlbity. Then there is power, spin, precision plus control, feel plus touch, baseline plus serve, volleys plus stability, other options, and the last point will be the final verdict. So let's jump without further ado to the Manooovrlbity. So why Manooovrlbity? First point in the review, because it is absolutely fantastic. The racket flies like crazy. It's perfectly balanced. Balance is 325, so it is very evenly balanced. So it's not balanced too much to the head, it's not balanced too much to the handle. The racket is evenly balanced and flies like crazy. It feels super solid in your hand. You can do even small adjustments during the swing, or when you are late, you just still have a ton of control over the frame, because the swing weight of the racket with strings is just 308, which is very low, but I highly recommend it for people on intermediate, lower intermediate, beginners, or beginners, you know, highly trained beginners, or beginners who are ambitional than juniors, lower intermediate women, weaker men, and also weaker players, advanced players like I am, because I am just, you know, around 70 kilos. So I need a light racket to handle it properly. So the Manooovrlbity is excellent. Probably the most fun racket I have tested in recent months along with other frames from the renowned brands. This is just outstanding, especially on my forehand. I can rip the forehand like crazy, but I will get to it later with my next point. So, by the way, the racket was strung with a fantastic Tecnifibre Razor Soft 1.25. I highly recommend this string, just try it. Now it is trending like crazy. This string is over the top. Everyone is praising it because it has nice feel, crisp feel. It's soft, yet it provides good bite to the ball, great pocketing, great spin potential, superb control. Or maybe the tension maintains is not really good with this string because it's a soft version of the Razor, of the Tecnifibre Razor, and this the Razor Cought. Sorry. So this string is very, I would say, it's also very close to the LU Power, but it is kind of more manageable, more fun right from the start. Elasticity is better, so the free power is great, and a lot of fun with this string, so I highly recommend it. So this racket was strung with it, and it flies like crazy. And we will move to the next point of this review, and that's the power. Power from such a light racket is tremendous. So I did not expect that such a light racket can provide you with such an insane amount of power. And I will just show you a little bit of the hitting without talking, without my voice, just to enjoy it and to appreciate how powerful the racket is. And I will just add a note to this playtest. I was playtesting the racket with Zdenek once again. Zdenek was looking at me like I'm some crazy person. What am I doing? What's the racket all about? How can I play so fast with such a light racket? And he was telling me, the shots from you are so fast, and that comes from a person who is holding in his hand a Wilson RF97, so a 340 gram heavy racket compared to 290 gram racket, and that guy Zdenek was absolutely amazed by the power. Is it possible that a 50 gram light racket can produce such a high power? Yes, it is, because when you can swing fast with the racket, you just produce the power, right? And the racket just transfers the power. So that's the beauty of the maneuverable racket. And now, finally, enjoy one of the best shots I have made, especially from the forehand side with this racket. Let's go.
Nej. Ja. Ja, där.
So guys, did you see that? How powerful and crazy this racket is? Of course, so there is no need to talk about the power again. So I can see that you already made your own picture in your head by watching me killing the ball. And let's move to the next point, and that's the spin. Once again, spin potential with this racket is fantastic. I don't know how this racket is a 98 square inches head size, but the 16 by 19 string pattern just works marvelous in this head size. Somehow the spin is tremendous. The spin is very fast, so it's not the type of spin that you somehow drag the ball and the ball has this high long trajectory, but the spin is fast because you can swing fast the racket, so the spin is like, you know, it overcomes the net very easily, but then the ball very fast sinks down. So it's a very unusual type of spin, very unfriendly for the opponent, and that's why I also enjoyed hitting my forehand with this racket so much, because the spin was fast and kind of unreadable. You cannot really read the trajectory from this racket, and I absolutely love hitting the small corner on the serve line, cross court. So yeah, spin is great. You can create ton of spin with this racket, and also I like the head shape of this frame. It's close to the pure strike, and overall experience with this frame is very close to the pure strike. It feels like a copy of a pure strike from Babolat, but better. So it's foam filled, so the connection to the ball is a little bit better. But let's jump to another point, that's the precision and control. So as you would expect, this type of boxed beam creates great precision and control, because that's the way how good precision and control oriented rackets are made. So a thinner, boxed, solid beam that transfers the energy quite quickly. There is no bigger delay on the string. The dwell time is not slow, not fast. It's, I would say, medium with this type of racket. But I like that the string pattern, which is opened, it's a 16 by 19, but in the head size 98, works really well, and also the precision and control with this racket is very, very good. I would rate it among the top other rackets in this category. So yeah, very, very good very good precision and control with this stick. I can't say anything bad about it, as you can also see from the video. Now the next point is called feel and touch. So the feel and touch has a lot of to do with the foam filled frame. So it's the similar type of frame like the Pro Stock rackets from Wilson, like the Wilson blades, Pro Stock, and so on. So the foam truly gives the racket the solid sense, the solid feel on impact, muted feel, so you can hit the ball harder, and still there is not the typical trampoline effect like with a standard non-foam filled rackets, that they can feel sometimes too much alive, too responsive. So when you hit too hard, sometimes you lose the control. But the foam absorbs some portion of the power you put in, and it transfers the power into control and precision. So that's the beauty of the foam filled frames, and I would say you will feel that in every shot how solid and yet light the racket is. So it's a proper 290 gram Pro Stock like racket, and the feel and touch with it is very, very good also on the more delicate shots, because it depends on your hand, how good you have hand, how your hand is good. It can really cooperate with the racket nicely without the racket being kind of too aggressive and taking control from you, which you don't want if you are on a higher level. You just want the control to be in your position, and that's why these rackets, foam filled rackets or rackets with other type of filling or other type of this type of technology, give you the opportunity to play with the ball more without losing the control. So that's just great. Now baseline plus serve. So baseline hitting, I will start with the forehand. Forehand is one of the best forehands I have hit with any racket that I have ever tested. Truly, it just goes, flies crazy. I can control my forehand mid-air. I can adjust in the latest moment of the swing. I can adjust the angle, the speed, how I hit the ball, because the racket is so maneuverable, and I like that I can make the last moment transitions and changes to the shot. With heavier rackets you can't do that. It's just determined when you start your swing. It's determined by the swing weight how the hit will end. But with this racket you can somehow correct mid-air what you will do, and it is super important, especially when you play on clay, where the bounces are like 20% of all the bounces on a clay court are just, you know, not going the direction you want, and you have to make those changes. So probably that's also why I like this type of easy maneuverable racket more than the heavier ones with more plow through. I just want to swing the way I want and not let the racket take the swing away from me. So I'm more in control of this type of racket, and especially on the forehand, absolutely amazing. When I go to the backhand, that's this weak spot of this racket, my double-handed backhand. Few grams would be much appreciated, because the plow and the stability on the double-handed backhand is not really there. I just want to have more head movement forward, but with this racket it's not really that easy, and also on the slice backhand it's not that easy to stay with the racket in the right position when you hit the ball. Sometimes I felt like the head is, like, you know, dropping too much down after I hit the ball, so the stability isn't really there. But that's, you know, you probably have to count with that when you have such a light racket, right? And the more I played with the racket, I got used to it. I knew that if I want to get the most out of the racket on my double-handed backhand, I have to position the racket head way up, much in a little bit different way, so I can then drop the head down quickly and once again move the head up when I want to hit the ball or in the straight position and go forward, then just hitting it, you know, more kind of easily. So it's a little bit, let's say, more complicated type of shot with more kind of I don't want to say stiffer hands, but more of the raw power from my body, not the swing itself. So yeah, a little bit adjustment here and there, and the racket works. But I would prefer more weight on my double-handed backhand. With the slices, it is the same. It is noticeable, like the frame is light. So when you have someone who is hitting very hard, and your slice can be damaged by the opponent's shots. So that's the weak spot, and let's move also to another weak spot. And oh, sorry, I forgot to mention serve. Of course, serve with this racket is very good. It's very playful, easy, so I can swing fast with this racket. It is a creative racket, so nice kick serve can be done with this racket very easily. I like that. It's not the most, let's say, killing racket, of course, because the swing weight is just not there, but the racket is light, so you can accelerate the racket pretty fast and create the speed yourself. And when you have a softer string bed, then it's a win-win situation, because the softer string bed will just create the power for you, but you will of course lose a little bit of the control over the shot when your string bed is just too soft. So now let's move to another point, volleys and the stability. So this is the real biggest weakness of this racket. The volleys, I will say it straight, the volleys are not good with this one. So I can say like, oh, it can be done pretty well with this racket if you try hard. No, this racket sucks on volleys, and I can say that. So it's light, a fast shot from your opponent will just kill the racket in your hand. The racket will just bounce back. It doesn't stay in place when you hit the ball. Also, when you hit it correctly, it just bounces back. It just goes backwards because it's too light. And the most noticeable is obviously on the backhand. The backhand is very rubbish, backhand volleys. So I can imagine someone who is playing, you know, a junior tour maybe. It can work. But for an adult who is playing on a higher level, playing tournaments, it is just too light for doubles. So I can't imagine just hitting a real proper volley against a very solid, hard-hitting adult player that is like 25 years old and just ripping the ball. He will just shoot the racket out of your hand pretty easily. So that's this weak spot, and here comes the stability issues. So stability overall with this racket is not something I would praise and I would rate high. It's one of the worst stability-oriented rackets that I have tested, but once again, 290 gram. You can't blame that, and if you customize the racket just with few, let's say 10 gram of lead, and you put few gram on the tip of the head, 12 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just put it under the bumper guard, along the bumper guard, and it will help with the stability, of course. But in this stock form, it's not the most stable racket, not at all, and it's a true weak spot. I just don't want to talk about it like easily. I just tell you straight away, it's a weak spot. A big weak spot of this racket is the stability, and slice, volleys, it's not that very good. So now let's move to the other option, or to the other topic that is called other options. So truly, to be honest, what are other options for this type of racket? Of course, lighter pure strike rackets, yes. Lighter prestige rackets, yes. Lighter percept rackets from Yonex, obviously. But somehow, from what I have tested, this one is the most fun and also most performance oriented in the 290 gram sector of rackets. It is so fun, so easy, and yet so good that it is a racket that can kill the pure strike series pretty easily, because it just feels more manageable than the pure strikes in general, and also in some of the moments I would say it's just more solid, because there is the foam inside, so the racket feels like a like a baby pro stock. Yeah, that's a good name. I will put it in the thumbnail. Baby pro stock. So, guys, let's go for the final verdict. And you might be thinking, oh, final verdict, that's the number. I will compare this number with another number of your tennis racket you have rated, and then I will choose the racket based on the number. No, you can't do that. So the final verdict of my racket reviews is for that particular racket, and you can just compare this racket to the other similar racket in the series. But I can't compare this racket, for example, with a blade. Blade is just a different type of racket, a little bit different type of racket. Maybe the Blade Pro stock, maybe, but it's just a little bit different type of racket. So each of the final verdicts is kind of unique for the type of racket, and just consider the final verdict as a starting point, not an, let's say, decisive type of rating that this racket has 9 out of 10, so it must be good for everyone and compared to the other rackets. No, it's good in this category of 290 gram rackets. That's good is the racket. That good is the racket. So the closest frame to this one is one of the lighter pure strikes. And the final verdict, as I consider the stability issues and the issues on the volleys on the net, but overall this racket is just fantastic. The final verdict for the TF40 290 gram 98 square inch head size version 3 is 8 out of 10 points. So guys, this is a very enjoyable racket, and I hope you also enjoy the review. So that's all. Back to the studio.
Alright, there you have the full review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the review, just, you can become a member of my club on a monthly basis. You can support my channel by becoming a member, just 99 cents, and you will receive a full access to all of my videos the moment I press the release button. And other people who are not members, let's say the public, the general public, they will receive the videos with a 1 week delay. So if you become a member, you get this benefit, and of course you will receive the special badge, and I can focus on your comments under my videos a little bit better. And then there are the other options. There are the donation options the super thanks button, the buy me a coffee platform, PayPal and Stripe option, and you can use these donations to ask me a question, which is something I believe not many other YouTubers have. So if you donate me something, you can ask me a question, you can send me an email, and I will give you my best answer, or you can just write me a comment under my videos and I will give you my best answer thanks to your donation. So we have a deal, this is a cooperation between me and you. So if you give something to me, I will give something in advance to you. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, enjoy tennis, play tennis, watch tennis every time, every day, and don't forget to enjoy the Manooovrlbity. Bye guys.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line!